Hello and welcome, guys. You're in for a fucking treat. We have Miss Chelsea Abril back today, and it's been about a year or so since we saw each
My
other, since we
God.
recorded. I know, since we recorded our last episode together. And we're going to be talking about all things messy successy, which I'm very excited about. If you guys have ever met Chelsea, you know that she has an energy that's unlike anyone else, and she's an incredible coach. She is a multi-passionate coach. She will get your ass up and get you going and make sure that you
Mhm.
get your fucking goals reached. And I'm
Mm.
gonna pass it over to you. Fucking, you are in a new season, so introduce yourself as this new era Chelsea girl.
Hello. Oh my God, I can't believe it's been a year. What
Yeah.
is time anyway? Speaking of it being a year, so 2023 was my year, quote unquote, off, which is funny
Ooh.
because part of me had decided that it was going to be off, but the other part didn't get that memo, and so was
Right.
freaking out about being off and having all this time. So it was a different year for me. Like I like cut my income almost in half, and was surprised that I was like, "What do you mean I'm not going to make as much money when I'm working half the time?"
Right.
What a lie. So anyway, it was a lot of adjustment there, and I had to really face a lot of like my nervous system being so fucking dysregulated. Like I didn't know how to relax. I was like having so much anxiety. I couldn't sleep. Like this restful year was in fact not very restful. Not as restful as it could have been. I got the hang of it a little bit later, but even that didn't last very long. I was like, well, I feel like I should be getting started. I kept thinking, okay, next month I'll get started. Next month I'll put my foot back on the gas. And so every month I was like, okay, next month, next month. And so this like low grade panic just persisted throughout. Anyway, so from a business perspective, it was really unexpected. Um, and for anyone who's taken some time off or just like maybe purposely or accidentally taken their foot off the gas and been like, oh, fuck, what the hell happened? I know for me, I was very much in that like, uh, what's it called? Feast or famine. I was like, all right,
Oh,
we're gonna market. We're nailing it. Everything's all set up. And then I would ride that high and be like, oh fuck, wait, I forgot to plan for the next half of the year. Okay,
right,
well, let
right.
me just get on that train again. So I was doing a lot of that before. And so this last year, if you've ever taken your foot off the gas and you're a high achiever, overachiever, perfection, any one of those fucking combo cocktails of the things that I think a lot of us are, especially I think if you're listening to
Yeah.
this podcast, the kind of person that Heather attracts is an incredible woman. So you're here and you might have some of these. It's okay to slow down, and it does take a lot of work. You have to effort to get into your ease, which is like a really funny,
Right.
whatever, oxymoron, right? Um, and so what I discovered was I had made a lot of money before, and it was relatively a lot of money for my life. And I realized that I subconsciously, we love the subconscious mind here,
Right, right, right.
I was kneecapping every effort I had. So in consciously, I was like, of course I want to make a lot of money. Of course I want to be doing $30,000 months again.
Right.
Subconsciously, I was like, I fucking hated who I was and how I felt when I was doing that. So of course, I was just sabotaging myself at every fucking turn and then being surprised why I wasn't actually taking any action on anything. Because all I was thinking about was how tired I was and how it wasn't working out the way that I had done it before. I was
Yeah.
like, cool. So, anywho, coming into this new era, I got to work through a lot of that. And especially for everyone who's been fucking going forever, what a dream to actually like have weekends again.
Yeah.
Like I've come from the wedding industry, and so for 10 years I had sacrificed every weekend possible to other people. I loved my job, but I was so fucking resentful. I was like,
Yeah.
I'm missing camping trips, I'm missing funerals, I'm missing weddings, I'm missing all of these really important things in my life because I've made agreements with other people.
Yeah.
Wasn't their fault. I chose to be hired. Like I created this schedule for myself.
Right.
That's where I realized like, okay, I have to do something different. So I started coaching before the pandemic. I've found this really beautiful blend, and it's been that exploration of what does it look like now to be rich as fuck, but also rich in time, rich in friendships, rich in like loving myself, and the whole thing, everything that you talk about, Heather.
Yeah.
Um, and that's what this new exploration is. So talking about like messy, successy. I feel like a lot of what was happening before was this masking. So I don't know if anyone here is familiar with ADHD and all that.
Yeah.
AO, but just masking I learned what masking and ADHD was in the pandemic. And so having those reflection points and that information to be like, holy shit, well, no wonder I'm so tired in my business
Yeah.
because I'm not operating it, or I'm not being honest in the way that I'm operating it because it's not what other people are doing. It's not how other people are doing it. And I didn't feel safe to talk about that. So that's kind of where the messy successy happens. I've been really enjoying opening the doors to that. And it was really scary for me to start talking about how I didn't build my business in a way that was conventional. I didn't do a lot of the things that people recommend. Um, I had a lot of my own systems that made like no sense to other people, but total sense to me. And I went on my friend's podcast, and then I just like dropped the mask when I was on her podcast, and I
Yeah.
was having so much fun just being myself. And I listened to the podcast back and I was like, set me on fire. Shoot me to the moon. Holy shit. I was like, had a whole dark night of the soul just listening to that podcast. I was like, oh my God, is that what I like? All of my really mean, like Regina George self-talk came in, like,
Yeah.
is that what you sound like? Oh my God, how embarrassing. Why would anybody hire you? Like, did you even get to the point? Did you even answer a question? And if it was my podcast, I'd have been like, that never would have seen the light of day. And I was so grateful that it wasn't mine
Mm.
because I was like, okay, I hated that, but I also know that I felt really good when I did it. So maybe I can just sit with this. And it's
Yeah.
going to be up anyway because it's not my podcast, but great, cool. Let's just fucking roll with it. And the messages that I've gotten since then are like, oh my God, okay, this is what I'm supposed to be talking about. Everyone's like,
Yeah.
I have never felt more seen. I didn't know that anyone else was doing this. I thought I was doing it wrong. I understood everything that you said. I totally followed every point that you made. Like everything you said made sense to you. And I was doing it with um, the podcast was hosted by my girlfriends, and they're like, Chelsea, we don't understand you. We love you, but like, you're an enigma. You're a unicorn. We don't understand how you did all this.
Yeah.
What does it mean? I was like, bitch, I don't fucking know really, but let me try to explain it in the best way I know how. And so a lot of that was like the messy successy. Like I joked that I built my business on vibes and mostly
Love it.
vibes alone. And they didn't get that. And everyone's like, no, bitch, I get it. The vibes are strong. Of course, that's how it happened. I'm like, thank you. So even just being able to find community in the people who like, okay, am I supposed to be doing it differently? Like who are questioning
Right.
what they have or what they've built because it doesn't match up to some fucking Chad who's he what's it whatever who said it's supposed to be like this and you're supposed
Right.
to have all of these things in place. And so the message success I feel like is like what you've created is no less valid if your systems don't make sense to somebody else, or
Oh,
if
dude.
or why you built it doesn't make sense because like case in point, it is made for the right people. It like the right people will absolutely fucking find you
Yeah.
if you're willing. So for me, it was like actually being willing to drop the mask, say what I fucking meant instead of what just
Yeah.
sounded good, and then create from that space. So anyway, I don't know what your original question was, but here we are. Here we
I fucking love
are
you. I love you
later.
so much. So, well, I've
We're
been like,
vibing.
okay, so right out the gate, can we just be so fucking honest about
That's all I want.
some hilarious shit we do in our business that is complete opposite of what is told? I will go first. Number one, fuck the SEO. Number two, fuck the algorithm. Number three, I
Oh my
don't
God.
give a flying fuck what hashtags are whatevering right now. And is it important in some business aspects for some people where that is their jam? Yep. Is that my jam?
Totes.
Fuck no, I'm jelly, bro. I don't fucking care what any of that means. I don't care to look at analytics unless it's for a specific purpose. I care to
Hmm.
wake up and live by the values, the morals, the practices, the exercises I fucking teach, because that's
Hmm.
my number one. Is every time I am out of alignment with what I teach, I'm like, bitch, you lying though. You're talking about morning routines and you're not doing morning routines. Like,
Oh my God.
so
Thank you
like,
for saying that.
right,
What
dude, like,
morning routine?
right. Like they
What?
change. They change
You
every
have a
fucking week.
routine?
Like I couldn't care less about all of that stuff. Now,
Hmm.
again, if that's your shit, like if you're out there and you're like, Heather, you don't understand SEO. I probably don't. I probably don't care either. And I hope they work for
Listen.
you
Hmm.
because that's a you thing. Chelsea, you're up. What's some shit that you absolutely don't care about in business?
I love that you mentioned SEO because I was a more or less successful wedding photographer the whole time and built my business. Like I made my first, whatever, six figures, I think in 2019 and the upward trend since then. And I think I've written three blogs. I think the first blog I wrote was in 2022. And so even that, like, well, what do you mean that you didn't do SEO or blogging? And I was like, I don't, honestly, bitch, my fucking website was like, it just existed. I don't know. So speaking to being like a vibepreneur, I'm like, if I know that I'm showing up and I'm putting my face out there, putting my message out there, putting my vibes out there, like
Yeah.
SEO is great, but my business was built very relationally. Like I
Yeah.
was out there just being magnetic as fuck and attracting whoever I attracted. And I was like, perfect, cool. You guys are also people that don't fucking care about SEO. And some of
Right.
you might, but the vibes are more important. Somewhere in your value ladder, vibes are top tier.
Yeah.
Great, you're in the right place. Same with that. Like I've been trying to figure out what my signature framework is, and I'm like, God, it's so different. Like it's so different, and I work so specifically with each client. So yes, there's a lot of things, and I'm sure I'm overcomplicating this, but it
Who
doesn't
cares?
feel
Go
like
with it.
it doesn't feel like a super set framework. Like I don't
Yeah.
always start with this because that might not be right for you.
Right.
So like so anyway, it's just funny with that too. I was like, find your signature framework and figure out exactly what it is. I'm like, I'm sure I could nail it down and like boil it down to something really basic and vanilla and simple, which I
Right.
probably should just for everyone's understanding. But I know that I do it very specifically with each person. That's what I enjoy. Like I don't want to have it like, all right, and then step one is this, and step seven is four, and whatever.
Right.
But and with morning routines and stuff too, I'm like, the one thing I said about on the podcast, they're like, well, what's one thing that you have done consistently? I was like, consistency? What is that? What do you mean? And they're like, have you kept any systems? And I was like, no. I was like, I've had systems in place. I've tried a lot of different systems. I've had other people come in and build me systems, and they work for a while until they don't. And I was talking with my coach about this. Like, I'm a high K person, so like I'm deeply like kinesthetic. If it doesn't feel right, you can't fucking
Yeah.
intellectualize me into doing like I don't like it. It gives me an ick. I shan't be doing it. And so we had been specifically talking about systems because that was what their podcast was about. And I was like, the only system I have, like the main thing that I consistently do
Hmm.
is audit who I am and what I'm feeling and adjust accordingly.
Yeah, dude.
Like it doesn't always mean a system. It doesn't always mean this. Like, would I benefit from a super cool automated streamlined system? Absolutely. I'll build that eventually. I can't just plug and play one. That's just not how my brain works. I
Yeah.
can't, maybe that's a limiting belief, whatever, but I can't personally insert myself into these things. And
Yeah.
that's okay. I'm still able to be messy, successy,
Yeah.
and I can install these over time. So, like the growth mindset of that, if anyone's like, maybe I hear this all the fucking time. This is why I want to like talk about it. Is everyone's like, well, I need to figure out the system first. I need to have the workflow. I need to figure out the whole flow first. And
Nah, man.
I'm like, will you ever get it out? Will it ever live? If are you gonna do it? Like if we're gonna do it tomorrow, perfect. Let's get it set and I can body double with you. Let's
Right.
fucking go. But if you're not gonna do it, it's more important that you exist in the world and get to course correct. So that's where like I love the data and that like I like data. I haven't been so connected to like the metrics. I'm leaning into that because it helps me be less dramatic. However, I like the data of like, cool, now we get to course correct not just on what you think or the stories you're making up, but like,
Yeah.
what did people love? What did you love? What did you actually hate that you thought you would love? Cool, let's course correct from this feedback. So maybe not
Yeah.
even data, but like, what's the feedback that you're getting? What do you feel? Cool, let's make adjustments.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, as far as like the SEO, I'm like, let me try these things. And I think also I'm I know from experience and what you said, like my most magnetic self is not when I'm devil in the detailing.
Right.
That's when
Right.
I'm speaking and I'm showing up and I'm being with people and I'm dropping the mask and not trying to like fucking spin a bunch of plates and then do a backflip and then still be talking and giving a really clear,
Right.
clarified, message. I don't know.
Right.
But I think that there's so much pressure and it's an easy thing to default to is like, what is the right way to do this?
Yeah.
I often hear it's not that I don't want to make the wrong or it's not that I want to make the right decision. It's that I don't want to make the wrong one. That's what I hear a lot like with my clients. And
Yeah.
I feel like that's a common thing to hear.
Yeah.
It's
It's a
not like, oh,
human
cool, what's
thing.
the best one? Yeah, right. It's not like, oh, what's the best thing or like what's the most efficient? It's like, the real thought is, I don't want to waste my time. What if I do all this and it's not the right thing? Or like, what if I make the
Dude.
wrong choice? What if I fail? So being able to just lean forward into, we know that there isn't any failure unless we just trash it all and stop forever and
Right.
never fucking go for it again. Um, yeah, I don't think it matters what system you use. Like you said, some people really fucking thrive on SEO and data. Cool.
Yeah. Yeah. I know a chick,
Amazing.
she thrives on like this. I know a chick, she fucking thrives on Pinterest. Like her business has
Amazing.
blown up. And I'm like, first of all, I couldn't do that to Pinterest because Pinterest is like the one social media thing I have where it's like, it's not quick, it's not fast. There's no crazy videos. It's just like chill the fuck out and read a
Yeah.
little bit and take a breath and pin it to a board. Like,
My whole pin thing is just like aesthetic common ingredients and like motivational quotes. I'm like, that's all I want to see there.
oh
Don't
my gosh,
fucking
dude, I
give
take
me anything else.
all of my vision boards, all of my action boards, whatever
Hmm.
words you want to use, it's all on Pinterest. Like my new
Yep.
home, it's on Pinterest. My dream wedding, which PS is in Hawaii, happening
Fuck
next
yeah.
year. So stoked
Fuck
about it.
yeah. Of course it is.
Dude, I'm so stoked. I like all of it's on Pinterest, every bit of it. And like there's just when she talks to me about it, and she's so brilliant. What she's done is brilliant. And she's like, Heather, you should give it a try. I'm like, I love that for you. I love that it works. And I love you offering that. But there's never a world that I live in. And like you said, I'm like, it could be limiting belief, or we could just chalk it up to I don't fucking want to do that. Maybe one day I
Yeah.
will. But right now, that's like the place I go to where I'm like, I can't fucking, first of all, I can't take Facebook ever at all. Like I am like deactivating that shit on the regular, but then I remember that I have like 90 million
Yeah.
family members on there that I try to stay connected
Hmm.
to because I don't live at home. So I'm like, okay,
Hello. Yeah.
open Facebook again. But like I don't like to be on Instagram or TikTok a ton because I can so easily get stuck in the doom scroll,
Oh
man.
yeah,
Like
for
it can
sure.
happen if I see one funny meme or one hilarious
It's
reel,
over.
I'm in, and I like fucking 30 minutes later, I'm like,
Dopamine
Heather,
activated.
right. 30 minutes later, I'm like, look at you doing exactly what you say not to fucking do. Get your ass up. But like,
Hmm.
that's the thing. Like, and what you were saying too about, using these different systems and tools or whatever we use, that it's, it is the seasonality. Like I talked to
Yeah.
April, I believe it was somebody on here about setting things up on a shelf. It was Katie Henricks, setting things up on a shelf, whether it's tools or systems, whether it's
Hmm.
business or personal. And then we get to this place as women where we're like, haha, I don't fucking need that anymore. No, bitch, you're just putting it on the shelf to use for next
Yeah.
spring or next summer or
Yeah.
next winter. Like during the winter months, I become a crabby Kenny. Like I don't want like if I'm at work, if I'm with certain people, I'm good. But like if I get to just be crabby and be like, it's winter,
Yeah.
it's been snowing, especially in Wisconsin where I'm at.
Sure.
Like it's been snowing for 40 million years outside and I'm just crabby. I have certain systems and practices. That's when I
Hmm.
do have a strict morning routine
Yes.
because your girl gets crabby if she doesn't. Like in the
Hmm.
winter months, I literally have like little things of dirt in my garage and I go fucking shove my fingers in the fucking dirt like a 4-year
Grounding.
old. Like
Yes.
I just want to feel dirt under my fingers and I'm not going to go out in the freezing tundra. So
Love an
like,
urban witch.
right, right. So like it's just understanding, I think, as a woman, like you were saying, the seasonalities as a business owner, as a human, it's understanding that you're
Yeah.
putting stuff on a shelf, you're gonna come back
Yeah.
to it. Don't nix it forever. Because when you do
Hmm.
that, you're stunting your growth. You're saying, oh, I will never do what I did before. I'm so far past that. Bitch, no, you're not. You're gonna come back around to it this year. Like
Surprise. Yeah.
you're gonna hit it again. It's a spiral. So like thank you for hitting on that and for being real. I dig it.
I love that. I That's my favorite thing to say. Like I've been introducing, I just did a spring reset and it's based loosely on like the 12-week year and goal setting in that way, like,
Yeah.
reframing our relationship with time and all that. And I was like, there's a part of me that doesn't want to teach this because I'm not doing it in the way that it's supposed to be done. But
Yeah.
let me put my fucking steez on this and
Mhm.
let's chat about it. And we're going to talk about the energetics. We're going to talk about, identity shift. We're going to talk about the beliefs and the things that support actually setting goals. And then you can decide if this system works for you. So at the end, I was like, here's how you do it. Here's how you can break it down. Here's how you, reduce overwhelm and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, and I want to be really fucking real with you. If this is the only time you look at this, if you don't actually do the weekly review or whatever, and you just review this maybe in 12 weeks, maybe in 6 months, this is still a good step.
Yeah.
I would love to say that I'm doing weekly review, but that's the same thing for me. I do really struggle with maintaining a routine I have still been successful despite that. That's not a reason
Right.
for me to be like, well, I guess I'm a piece of shit. I can't have what I want because I didn't do my review on Sunday. Whatever,
Right.
right? It's still like, I'm like, look, whatever you're starting, start it.
Yeah. Like
Choose,
play
like,
the
imperfectly do it. Just
yes.
fucking do it and experience it and keep going somehow. Anyway, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Messy
like I don't,
successy. Do it. Messy
messy
successy.
successy. I love to say, I'm like, listen, spring Chelsea is not winter Chelsea.
Nah.
The levels are different. She is a different bitch. We are not the same. We are
No.
probably not even really friends. Spring Chelsea and winter Chelsea, we are, no, thank you. You can
Separate.
stay over there. Yeah. And like you talked about, so seasonality, I'm like, we have to adjust for seasons. I cannot do a year plan. Are you fucking serious? I can know I'm going on vacation maybe in October, but forecasting, especially my offers or what I'm going to be beholden to further than a year. And this might be some of my trauma from being a wedding photographer for so long, is I'm like, no, I will plan 3 to 6 months tops.
Yeah.
That's as far as I want to see. That's as far as I
Yeah.
want to plan anything. Like, winter Chelsea does not like what spring Chelsea likes, okay? We got to make adjustments. And like 2024 winter might be different from 2023 winter.
Yeah.
We have to just like, I think there's a lot of rigid things that work that
Yeah.
really do, like, obviously a year plan works for a lot of people. A lot of
Right.
people do a year plan and SEO and whatever other things. But if you are like fucking banging your head against the wall trying to make this thing work that objectively, consciously should work,
Yeah.
air quotes, should work, and it doesn't work, then it doesn't work. That's okay. What is the next easy step? Like, what is the next path of least resistance that's going to get you something similar, the
Yeah.
similar result that you're going for? And you said, like, with a spiral, yes, we can put it away. Something might work for you. I have a lot of clients where something works until suddenly, okay, I'm not a spreadsheet bitch, but I've been a spreadsheet bitch for the last like 4 months.
Yeah.
I'm sick of these spreadsheets. Okay, great, cool. Let's transition.
Yeah. Pivot.
Like, pivot, cool. Put the spreadsheets on the shelf. Maybe you'll
Right.
get really inspired by spreadsheets again in October. Maybe not, but you'll
Exactly.
still have the data. It'll still live here. Don't trash them. But
Right.
like, move on. There's no sense, like, all that wasted energy just shitting on yourself because the thing that was working isn't working anymore. Then
Right.
fucking shift it. Who cares?
Dude, if you zoom out from that, like if you zoom out, I'm going to use you as an example, both of us. I'm going to use both of us.
Perfect.
If you zoom out from us and you just see us busy being around and we're like, ooh, I got all this stuff
Pollinating
going.
flowers.
Yeah. And we're, dude,
Pollinate.
exactly. I was going to say plant the seeds. So I love that we're on the same page. Like going around, planting these seeds, nurturing these seeds. And we have some seeds that we planted 2 years ago and we're still
Hmm.
nurturing them. And like, we're doing all this shit. If you zoomed out and you saw somebody doing that, you'd be like, that's a fucking smart bitch down there. Like she's
Look at those
smart.
seeds.
Look at her. Look at her. That whole thing. She's done that whole thing and she's moving and grooving. She's listening to her intuition. She's listening
Minding
to
her
the
fucking
nudges.
business.
Yeah. Oh, it's not that hard. It's not even that hard. It's not
Oh
that
my
hard
God.
to stay on your side of the street. I don't even know. We can't even go there this episode. I'll get fired up. Like it's
That'll be next year's, you and I.
next year.
Next year.
But like and I think that that's one of the things I have to tell myself. I have to talk to clients about. Clearly, you're in the same boat. Like I have to zoom out and be
Hmm.
like, this is difficult because you're fucking smart, dude. This is difficult because you're ambitious, bro. This is difficult because you're going after more, silly goose. Like that's
Hmm.
why it's not going to be easy because you're not sitting in stagnancy. Like,
Yeah.
duh. And whenever I zoom out and I see that, I'm like, oh, yeah, that's right. Like, duh. Okay. So this is difficult because I am on the road to success. I'm on the road to more.
Hmm.
I am doing more than the average bear. So I'm going to have more than the average stress. And
Hmm.
my work is regulating that. Like you said, my work is figuring out how to
Hmm.
enjoy my life because I sure as shit didn't leave corporate America, finance 9 to 5, go fuck off
Yeah.
type of life to create it within my own business.
Do it again on your own.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. No, thank you. And that I will tell you the hardest part for me, I actually just did a shame reclamation this morning about this.
Mm.
It's ick. You probably have it. It is this feeling of shame that somehow I should not, and it's family tied. It's like
Uh-huh.
you shouldn't be able to make that much money and not you don't work hard. I grew up fucking you better work your ass off or somebody's going to come around and bat you upside the head. Like I was a workhorse for 30 years. And now this workhorse is like fucking deuces. I'm retiring because I'm going to work smarter, not harder, y'all. And
I
there's like,
shan't be doing that anymore. Thank you.
no, thank
Goodbye.
you. And like it is this shamey, guilty thing. It's both sides of the coin. And it's like whenever I go outside and lay in the sun, which I'm gonna let you know right now, we're gonna get done with this podcast. I'm gonna finish up a few fucking things and I'm gonna go get some sun for the rest of the afternoon.
Tits out, baby. Love that for you.
I wish I could. My neighbors, I don't think they'd like it. We're moving though, and the no neighbors hopefully that are gonna be absurdly pissed off by that. But no, like it really is like this shame and this guilt. And I had to look at it this morning. And I mean, seasonally, spirally, I had to look at it again. I came back around to it. And like, it's probably, you know, the 7th or 8th time that I've been sweeping this up. And this time it felt like maybe we got all the residue. I don't fucking know. We'll check back in later. But it is like, as an entrepreneur, as a woman who is brilliantly building a business, you and I are in this boat. The goal is not to work your ass off and still be in this space. The goal is to work less, make more, have a bigger impact on the world, and enjoy your fucking life.
Yeah.
Like it's happy, healthy, wealthy, fulfilled. Like that's my fucking mantra. Happy, healthy, wealthy, fulfilled, bitch. That's what I want in my life. That's what I want to help other people achieve. So thank you for calling that out. Thank you for saying that. I have to ask you, what has been your most non-traditional, I don't want to say piece of advice that you would give, but just like overall that you would tell, not even somebody just in business, just in life, if you could give them one piece that would take them far non-traditional.
My mantra of like the last 2 years has been fuck around and find out.
Love it.
I'm like, what if, so like just so many different angles to fuck around and find out, but like, what if this wasn't all that serious? Like, it does feel like when you're not making money and you need to make money, that shit feels serious.
Yeah, it does.
That shit is real serious. You got bills to pay, rent to pay, whatever. It can feel serious, but I know. So the example I use with my clients, like I'm from Hawaii, so we have a lot of sand. So I'm like, when you go to the beach and you hold sand in your hands, if you hold it like this and you squeeze it in your palms, you're left with like less than half instead of just like having it and holding it. So what if you just have it and hold it instead of operating from this like ick, like you'll just have it. You can just have and hold and keep more than when you're like squeezing
Trying to
and
control
freaking
it
out.
and
Trying to control it, trying to hold it all and like squeeze it. So like even that scarcity mindset, like so leaning into the flow of like what is the path of least resistance? How could I fuck around and find out? Maybe this will work, maybe it won't, but what if like, you know, my mindset shift is like, what if this isn't the thing? What if it feels like the thing, but what if it's not the thing? And the point is to do it and learn something from it. And maybe I meet someone like Heather. Maybe I discover something new. Maybe I XYZ insert cool fucking thing that could maybe happen that I'm not expecting. What if like I'm trying to treat things as not the end all be all. I have certainly struggled with an all or nothing mindset, and this is how I circumvent that. I'm like, what if this is not the all or nothing? Because I mean, none of it is, even though it might feel like that. Like, what if this is just a thing that we explore? What if this is a fun new experiment? What if I get to play through this, and what would it look like if I got to play through this? What would it look like if this, you know, I think there's a required level of hustle for most things, and sometimes it's a little more and whatever. But will this actually lead to me eventually being able to have some ease? Like, will it eventually lead to me being able to have more freedom in the way that I explore things? So fuck around and find out. Like, it might feel really serious, and sometimes it is. But if you're stuck like so short-sighted, just start fucking around and finding out. I think I've been really surprised, and a lot of my clients have been really surprised in what ends up being the thing when we're just like, fuck it, let's put it out, let's test it, let's try it, let's see what people think, let's play with this, let's workshop it, instead of it like being this like sneaky cloistered secret that we can't share until it's perfect and we have all of the fucking dots connected on the thing with red yarn and whatever. Like, just it's not that serious.
No, just do the thing.
Around, find out, and then keep going, keep fucking around, keep finding out. You said something that before I forget, you said, I think I've swept this up, like the same thing, your reclamation you're going through. Like, I think I've swept this up. I've gone through this 7 or 8 times. I'm so glad you fucking said that, because I know for me, and I see this all the time, I remember being so fucking frustrated when I had to deal with the same issue again. I was like, what do you mean? Again? I thought I fucking went through this. I healed. I'm healed. Why are we talking about this again? Like, I did this in January. Why am I fucking talking about it again in May?
Yeah.
And like, it's a little comical, but because like, obviously, duh. Like, this is maybe a hot take. I don't think they were ever fully healed from something. I just think
No.
that like, it's part of who you are. Like, and
Yeah.
we can release the shame of it and we can look at it. But I think we learn to have better tools, better methods. Like, we react less and hold it better. I don't think anything ever really goes away. Like, because
Yeah.
if it went all away, then you would just lose all these different parts of you who make you you. You know what I mean?
Dude, it's
Like, I don't think the goal is to ever
alchemization.
be done with it.
Yeah.
Yes, love
You
alchemy.
yeah, fucking alchemize that. It doesn't go anywhere. You turn the shit into gold because you're a magical
Yes,
bitch. Like, you
that's
know?
what I'm saying. Put a bird on it.
Yeah.
Remember
Okay,
that?
so many things. So many things. My brain's on fire. Okay,
Me too. Okay,
the
you go.
sand metaphor,
Mhm.
analogy, what the fuck ever it is, that just opened up something inside of me. So
Yay,
thank
take it and
you.
run. You're
I
welcome.
don't even know what that's like. You were saying plug and play. I don't even know what that's about to affect, but it immediately was like, Heather,
Yeah.
did you just fucking hear her? Store that. And you talked about like the fuck around and find out. The whole back end of this is the experimenting. And I love that because that's at the core of who I am. And it sounds like you too.
Hmm.
I love experimenting. I love playing with things. And
Yeah.
when somebody's like, no, it's not supposed to, you're not supposed to do it that way. I'm like, well, I guess I'm gonna do it this way just because you fucking said I couldn't.
Mind your
Thanks.
business.
Now I'm about to take pictures.
Is this
Thank
your
you.
lane? Get the fuck out. Bye.
Like,
Yeah.
and it sometimes can be like a motivation. Like the sassy pants part of me is like,
Was that the pathological demand avoidance? Oh, I can't?
Ah,
Interesting.
so funny. And honestly, I think the other thing for me too is when someone like when anybody says it's not supposed to be done that way, like this is the way that works and this is it, that turns something off and on inside of me at the
Hmm.
same time. Turning off I don't care what you're about to say. I'm not probably going to listen to anything else you're going to say now. No, nothing personal. And what turns on is now we have a goal. Like there must be a path that is fucking blazed. Like go blaze it, Heather. There's
Hmm.
a trail that has not been blazed yet.
Hmm.
Get your fucking machete out, bitch. We're about to go to the backwoods. Like,
We're going to the boonies.
yeah, like there I'm literally wearing my fucking what
I
is it?
love that.
Dwight Yoakam shirt, guitars, Cadillacs, hillbilly music. Like literally, we're gonna go to the backwoods. Like, and it's because there's never been a part of me that would understand how to make anything in life happen, especially business, if you don't just fucking have fun and experiment and try things out. The only
Hmm.
reason people know that certain quote unquote methods work is because somebody at one point experimented with some shit and
Hmm.
then they wrote it down and then more people paid attention and then those people were like, this is the only way we're supposed to do this. And I
Yep.
guarantee you, like let's take Tesla for instance. I guarantee
Hmm.
you if he sat down and was able to chat with us, he'd be like, always try every way, always
Hmm.
experiment. Like every genius who's
Fuck
ever
around
lived,
and find out.
every genius that's ever lived has fucked around and find out. If you stay in the, okay, this is how things work, that
Hmm.
sounds disgusting. Like
We
that
would still be
sounds
peeing in pots and throwing it out the window,
for real. Like we would still be dressing with those fucking
burning
wind
candles
jackets.
instead of having electricity.
I was talking about the 90s wind jackets that were like a teal and purple, but also I wish we still had those. Like I'd like for those to come back.
Iconic. Hmm.
So good.
Iconic. Love
Yeah.
those.
Okay, so question. So before we go into anything else, how do people work with you now? What's that look like? Tell the listeners. I forgot we
This
had
is my
listeners
favorite
for a
thing.
second. Tell
Hello.
everybody.
Oh, hi. Hi, everybody. Again,
Wait,
this is my favorite thing.
hold on. We're gonna make them do something
Yes.
real quick. Can we do something? I've wanted to do this for
Yes.
a while. I'm gonna ask everybody to stop the podcast. Stop it. Put it on pause. If you're watching on YouTube, pause that. Go directly to Chelsea's Instagram. Chelsea, what's your Instagram?
It's Chelsea Abril, Chelseea, A B as in boy, RIL. Chelsea Abril, all one word. That's who I am everywhere on the internet.
Got it. Go find her on Insta, go find her on TikTok, go find her everywhere on the internet and go follow her. And I'm going to take it a step further. Chelsea and I are going to check in about this. So just for real, do this. Send her a message and be like, Chelsea, I'm listening to the podcast that you were on with Brazen, and let her know.
Let's fuck around and find out.
Let her know how you feel about it. And because Chelsea's the type of woman, much like myself, anybody in my community knows this. If you send me a message, we're going to get to know each other. Like I'm not going to jump right into bed with you, be like, do you want to buy something from me? Like that's not,
oh my God. That gives me big ick energy.
Unless somebody is like, Heather, I want to purchase something from you. I want to be in this course. I'm like, absolutely. Here's the link. So just know that if you reach out to Chelsea, she's a human. So Chelsea, now that they've found you and they've added you and they've messaged you and they've pressed play again,
we're fucking around, finding out.
How do they work with you?
This is my favorite thing. Right now, you can book a power hour or you can work with me one-on-one. There might be other things. So check back seasonally. At the time that you listen to this, I may have something totally different. Yeah. Again, I am really focusing on creating in a way that feels really good for me and most effectively and most gently, kindly, lovingly, juicily solves my people's problems. So right now it's power hours, no fucking whatever. What's it called? People who don't like commitment. That's for you, babes. Come book a power hour. If you want to commit, we can do one-to-one. Both things are available to you. Yeah, and it might change. So check back in. Come be friends.
Hell yes. This is going to air like just kind of rough estimating. We're probably looking at like mid-July is when this is
amazing. Who the fuck knows? Yeah, who the fuck knows what's going to be then? Yeah, it's April now. Who knows, baby? Come be friends. We'll see let me know if it's different by the time you come and find me in July.
So what has been the favorite thing that you fucked around and found out about? What's been the favorite?
Coaching.
Solid answer.
Surprise. Yeah, solid answer. I ventured into coaching in like late 2019. I had been a photographer for ages. I'd made my multi-six figures. It was really cool. And I was like, also, I feel terrible. Why the fuck don't I feel better with all this money? I kept making more. Where's the serotonin, you bitch? Like, what the fuck? And so I realized like there has to be something else. So my first kind of foray into like the mentorship area was like, okay, how do we have better boundaries? How do we, that was my first intro to even thinking about what alignment meant or what values meant. Like I never, ever fucking crossed my mind. And no one was talking about that either back in like the late 2019s. Like, they're like, just do it. Make money, hustle. I'm like, yeah, I fucking ate that shit for breakfast. And I was like, let's do it. And sleep, not for me. And then I was like, I feel so awful. Like, I don't feel good. My marriage is crap. Like I hate myself basically. Like I can't stand any of this. And it looks really good on Instagram. So this is a problem. We have to fix this. So I started there. People came to me for mentorship because that was like the next obvious thing to come and like, oh yeah, let's learn from Chelsea about photography because she did photography and she's doing a good job. And I realized very quickly, I was like, I do not want to teach people photography. I don't care about the vehicle. I work with a lot of photographers, but I want to teach people like the vehicle for how to be like their fullest expression of themselves. So first it was like, how do we feel good? Let's talk about feel good success. Let's talk about holistic success. I ended up doing like a 14-month apprenticeship. And so I learned a lot about therapy and NLP and got my master certifications in those. And I realized like, oh, I want to be teaching like big feel good stuff, like neuroscience. I want to be talking about like neuroplasticity and how to change your behavior and how to like fucking everywhere feel really good and create that and with a way that's like, so I talked about like, kindness forward and fun forward. Like I'm very much a believer, as I think you are, that there is no right way to do any one thing, but you'll know if it's wrong if it doesn't feel good.
Yeah, man.
There's a difference between not feeling good and being a little bit hard. Like, when something doesn't feel good, y'all are intuitive, strong women. If there's like, alarm bells, something is wrong versus something like, oh, this is a struggle. This is kind of hard. Yeah. So leaning into that and now like in this like new exploration, fucking around and finding out and dropping my mask. I'm like, I am a messy person. And I say that it used to be a really mean thing that I would say to myself. And now I'm like, I'm messy and I love this. Like I have felt the most stifled when I tried to put everything in, which is funny. I'm really organized and a little OCD about some things, but in general, my life is this ebbing and flowing thing. Like I like a Pinterest board and I don't like to print things. It's like, I changed my mind enough that I'd like to be able to say boop, boop and change things around. And so I built a life that supports that. Yeah. Thank fucking God, because I was ready to be like, bye, joining the circus, getting divorced, running away, let me out of here. And so doing that now feels really exciting to help people, like being a multi-passionate, discovering what the fuck that word was even a word. I was like, oh my
Yeah.
God, that's me. Hello, multi-passionate visionary creatives, ADHD. What's up? We're all in the same fun club together. And doing that now, and even just that, like telling, I built my business in a messy, successy way, and
Yeah.
that's really cool. And there are more of you out there that don't feel comfortable maybe yet talking about that. But here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna talk about it, and
Yeah.
we're gonna keep building it, and we're gonna keep finding new fun ways that are, fun forward and kindness forward to
Yeah.
keep expanding, to keep feeling fulfilled. So like, there's no fucking limit to the really cool, fun things you can do and
Right.
feel really expanded. So all the people who are multi-passionate, who like, oh my God, just like raw dogged having to do a niche and like really niche down, they're like, I don't actually like this, or
Yeah.
I do, but because I'm only here, I hate it. I'm resentful that I'm just here. So really, like, I love that. Just fuck around and find out. Like, maybe the thing that you like is the thing that you like, and you do monetize. Maybe it's something
Yeah.
that you just fucking paint by the water. I don't know. I think it's just really fun, um, fucking around and finding out of. I think, how do I want to say this? It's like I had to do a lot of exploration and like inner consideration of what was actually mine. I was like, I didn't know
Mm.
what was mine and what was somebody else's. And so, of course, I was feeling really disconnected and like just fucking floating around in this big wide ocean. I was like, "Ah, none of this is mine." And that's why I feel so bad. So,
Yeah.
another Hawaii metaphor, if anyone's ever been to the beach, there's these things called collector urchins.
Oh,
I
you
want to
told me this
like, okay,
before.
did I tell you this? Okay, I might have told this on the last episode we did. But
I
anyway,
love
collector
it.
urchins. So we just grab things. We're back again. Look at that little serendipity. But I like taking off all these things that I just accidentally picked up along the way. And I was like, oh,
Yeah.
I actually don't like that, or I don't believe that. Um, it worked, but it's actually not working anymore.
Yeah.
So I think it's a really gentle, like thoughtful thing to process of what do I think is mine and what actually is mine. And
Yeah.
then the more you can get rid of like what doesn't actually, like that was from fucking Chad, or that was from this other thing that said I should do this. Like, okay, well, I don't really want to do that anymore.
Yeah.
What could I make space for from my own inspiration, from my own fucking well of magic to do instead? That's gonna
Yeah.
work. That's gonna work with my seasonality. That's gonna work with my messy successy. That's gonna celebrate how quickly I talk, or how maybe I don't think I answer questions, but actually I really do, and the right people understand it, I love that. I think just
Oh,
fucking around and finding out with just it's okay to be messy, and it's actually really cool.
dude,
It's actually
life
really
is
cool.
messy. Like life is so messy. To pretend it's not is that weird, the vibe you were just talking about.
Psychosis.
Yeah, right. It's the weird thing you were just saying. Like it's no, it's great on Instagram though. But it's not though, because if
Yeah.
you're not messy and you're not real and you're not raw, like I had they were all very well-meaning coaches. Like let me put that out there.
Yes.
Very
Yeah.
well-meaning coaches. They were like, you should probably be a little bit more professional. You should probably not put as much of yourself
Yeah.
out there.
And that
Um,
advice works for a
for
lot of
some
people.
people, they're like, you
Yeah.
should probably stop saying fuck. And I was like, that's not gonna fucking happen.
Fuck
Like,
that.
I
Yeah.
use it as a comma. Um, like again, very well-meaning as they were fucking around and finding out. They're like, let's try
Yeah.
some new stuff. I'm like, that stuff doesn't feel good to me, like you were just saying. And it's just so important to I don't know, like every year, I'm not going to say like it's at a certain time of every year, but it's around fucking springtime, right? It's around the beginning of the lunar year, like the real
Sure.
fucking year.
Yes.
I
Yes.
have this urge to sit down and I have it in my journal right now, and it's halfway done because I got halfway through and I'm like, bitch, I don't want to do this anymore. And it's who are you going to be this year? What do you
Hmm.
value? What are your morals? What are you creating this year? What are you done with this year? What do you want
Hmm.
more of? What do you want less of? Where are you going? What like actual like get it together, Heather. Are we trying to go towards the next goal while we're still in the identity of 2 years ago, Heather? Because that's not going to work. Like every year around spring, I personally have to put pen to paper. And I think that that's a
Hmm.
human thing, honestly, because like putting pen to paper requires different neurological pathways to start fucking
Hmm.
firing and wiring. And like when you are writing it down and you're like, oh, that's what I want to create. Like you were saying, it helps us so we don't keep going and trucking along like
Yeah.
we've all fucking done. I did it like a year and a half ago and I was like, oh, this feels fantastic. And then I was like, this doesn't fucking feel fantastic anymore.
Does
This
it? Yeah.
this feels so
Heck.
gross. Yeah. So like I'm really, really, really grateful that we're sitting on this topic because there is a need for messy. There's a TikTok that's going around. It's viral. And the original part of it, the beginning of it, is by one of my favorite creators. She has like long black hair and she's like real Southern. And she's like, people are craving
Oh, yes,
weirdness.
yes,
I
yes.
fucking love her. Have
Say
you
the weird thing. Yeah.
Shit, I love her so much. All of her videos I could watch all day long. And that's so fucking true. People are craving realness. Get me the fuck out of an AI. Nothing's real. Everything's edited. You can only do things one certain way. You have to do a 9 to 5 type of world. Like, no, no.
Yeah.
I want the people that are
Hard
like,
pass.
listen, I have never fit into that box. That box always sounded gross. I don't want to wear a collared shirt. I don't want to clock in, clock out. I don't want my life to be, I wake up, I work, I shit, I eat, like, no. Sometimes that works for people. For about 10 years, I wore a mask and I was like, this is great. I'm very good at this.
Look at me climbing this ladder.
Yeah, I am in corporate America and I'm hitting all these goals. And it drained the life out of me. Like, it made me want to just scream at every given chance. And sometimes I would go to the bathroom and do it in my brain.
And scream.
And do it, just like just scream. And it really required me stepping outside and saying, you know what? I have to take a look at all of this. If I am this unhappy in my life and all of these areas of my life, I need to figure out what I'm doing. Like, I need to actually look at what I'm doing. And it's kind of evolved. So now, like I said, every year I just sit down. I'm like, who the fuck are you this year? Who the fuck are you? Who do you want to be? What are your values? And are you living by them? Because knowing your values and living by your values are two motherfucking different things. And like, that'll put your ass in check real quick. Ooh, will that put your ass in check?
I loved it. Like, values is my favorite because a lot of people think that they know their values, and any sort of any even little grasp on your values is great than not having any at all. But what I love, because I'm like a highly kinesthetic person, is what does it mean? So if your values are X, Y, and Z, how do you know that you are experiencing those values? So like taking it a little step further, which a lot of people don't. They're like, oh, time, obviously. Okay, cool. What do you mean by time? How do you know you're experiencing time? How do you know that you're experiencing good time or not so good time? And like going even deeper to like, what are the real examples? How do you feel time in your body? How do you feel time in your experience? And everyone's like, oh, wait, maybe it's not this or it's that. Fucking love that. And going deeper and just like asking those questions, like, what do you mean? I want to feel better. What do you mean? What kind of better? How do you know that you're feeling better? How could you measure it? How would you literally be able to catalog that you were feeling better?
Right.
And what's the better word for better?
Right.
Get like so fucking specific. And I used to really like bulk from that. I'm like, I don't know, I'm fucking dieting. I just want to feel, I just want to feel better. I'm like, okay, well, I had no way to track what better meant or what better was. I didn't know if I'd actually done it. And so I love that you're doing that. I have a spring, so I do the spring reset. I'm starting to do these like, they're more alignment than they are goal setting. Goal setting's like the little cherry on top of them. But as a seasonal reset. So we just had the spring reset. I'm like, great. Cool. Welcome to summer, bitches. Coming in July. So when this podcast episode comes out, the seasonal, reset might be coming up. But it's so important to just check in. Like, that's what I like about the 12-week year is most people are doing an annual check-in, like corporate. You do an annual check-in. You might have quarterly like KPIs, but mostly you're doing an annual check-in. Most people set annual resolutions. And so then you get to fucking December and you're like, oh shit, well, I guess I can't, create $100,000 in the next 1 minute. Darn. Guess it's going to have to roll over to next year.
Right.
But like shortening your time horizons, working with your own personal seasons, like even with where you are in the world, like what is different this season? What is the actual goal that I want? And my favorite thing, maybe this is one of the fuck around and find out things, is that I was so committed to what I said or what I was presenting. And I never thought that I could change my mind. I thought if I changed my mind, it meant that I was wishy-washy, it meant whatever. And I think there's an element where that can be true, but mostly like you're allowed to change your mind, especially like that's why I stopped doing a year. I'm like, I want to think about this season because what a disservice to myself and to the people that I speak to and that I serve to say, this is who I am for the whole year. What if things change? And what if you're like, well, I said it and I have now a cost sunk fallacy that I can't change my mind and it has to be this. I'm like, oh my God. All that energy just being like, fuck, and now I have to do it. And like, that's corporate America. Like, fuck, I said I would do this, now I have to.
Yeah.
I think there's so much more room for leniency with kindness, with grace, and still being able to hold yourself to the standard that you want to be held to, like
Yeah, dude.
change your fucking mind. It's like the
Agreed.
most natural thing to grow and change and evolve.
Yeah.
It's it's unnatural if you aren't.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
unnatural if it's been the same thing. Like you're like, okay, I'm acting like 2022 me when it's 2024. No
Yeah.
wonder this is hard.
Yeah.
I'm out of integrity. Like
Right.
these things don't, this is wrong puzzle, wrong piece.
Yeah.
What the fuck is happening here?
I love that. Can I
Anyway, that was a
I'm gonna
tangent.
this is my favorite tangent. I'm gonna give a few of my favorite, I don't know, pro tips for the way I run my business. Are you
Give
on
me,
board? Are you on board to give a few of yours to
give it
listener? Okay.
totes.
Totes. So you were just talking about, well, we went back and forth on the year. So
Yeah,
when I do those questions, they are personal and business and like it's all
yeah.
like it's in there. It's part of the journal that's gigantic. So there's a lot of pages designated.
Hmm.
So people out there that are listening, do that if it feels good. And then so I have whiteboards. Whiteboards are
Yep.
I am so turned on by office supplies. It's silly. Like, give me whiteboards and
I
markers.
have an obsession with office supplies, carabiners, and one other thing I really love. But like really, really, I get it. I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
Continue.
Also, I had to show you, like, I just picked up my little pen thing. Side note, I'm going to put her information. I need to make a note of that. I'm going to put her information in the show notes too. This is a chick. I bought her mug from the farmer's market. You'll love this. It says, too clumsy to be around your fragile masculinity. Yeah. It made me very happy immediately. I was like, that's fantastic. And she was like, she was my type of people. She was like making all this stuff for everybody. And then people would come up and look at that and give her a dirty look. She's like,
This mug is not for you.
it's not for you. You're not the client. But like my whiteboard's up here. So I have what will end up being like what 3.5 months because they kind of split. And on
Hmm.
my notes section, so just like anybody that's listening, on my notes section, I have, because I do plan out professionally my year, but I just carve out like the times. Like this
Yeah.
is where, because I plan things, especially in the last like, I'm going to say year. It's been
Hmm.
planning along with astrology, planning along with the seasons, planning along
Hmm.
with the moon cycles, with the eclipses. Like that's when we do the spring retreat and the fall retreat, like really looking at that. So up here, I have my 5-week retreat, my Women Rising 4-day event, my sisterhood, and I have like the amount of money that's going to come in from each of those.
Yes.
Over here,
Hmm.
I have my August 1st goals. Before that, it was April 1st goals. And let's physical, spiritual, emotional, business, financial, and mental. So like, and they're little
Yes.
check boxes because I love to check off a box so hard. That's my favorite tick right off. So I set year and then I have 2 calendars. They're actually on both sides of me because when we're done, that's one of the things I'm going to finish is looking at my calendars. And I set things up on my calendars and I see what it's going to look like for the year after I put my vacations in, after I put my time
Yes.
off in. I
Hmm.
see where things are going to fit, what's going to fit best with the moon schedules, what's going to fit. Because why would I have my clients work against the energy of the fucking natural world around them when they're part of nature? That doesn't make any
For
sense.
real. And let me clarify too, like when I say plan for your season, I mean the nitty gritties of planning for a season. I
Mm,
love a year look of an awareness, like, oh,
yeah.
I do want to take August off, or like, yeah, I do fuck off in November.
Yeah.
Anyway, yes,
I
love
love
this.
that. I
Continue.
love that. Last thing I would say is when it comes to like putting things on the calendar, this is something that has saved my life on many, many occasions. Put it on your fucking Google Calendar in your phone.
Yes.
Like put it in your Google Calendar. If you are planning and you're the fuck around and find out stage and you're the messy successy, because same. I did never
Yeah.
call it messy successy, but now I'm gonna like you cannot
Hmm.
rely on your brain and say, I'm gonna remember that. Cause bitch, no, you're not.
No,
No, you're fucking not. Put it
not
on a
even 5 minutes from
calendar.
now.
Right. Put it in your phone and put a reminder on your phone and make it a cute
Yes.
emoji so it really sticks out.
Hmm.
So those are some of my
Yes.
tips. What are yours?
I love that. And that's the same thing. Like, everyone's like, oh my God, okay, hold on. I don't want to say this. One, if you are at Messy Successy and you have been straight up vibing, amazing. I love that for you. It will there eventually be a point where we maybe want to introduce some, planning or some structure? Fucking totes. Like that'll just make things easier. You
Yeah.
might buck against it in the beginning, and it's okay that these things might change, but there will be a point that this might change. Maybe you have to bring someone on to help you, but acknowledging the Messy Successy is fire.
Mm-hmm.
I would say maybe not always the most conducive to resting because we're a little messy. So we can figure out systems and rituals and flows that are a little more supportive. So like leading into, okay, maybe I do want to fuck around with a quarterly plan. Maybe I do want to look what the moon is doing and see how I'm going to plan my next launch or my next offer around that. So like
Yeah.
play with those things. Again, my big thing is like audit what worked. Try one thing this and commit to it. Try it long enough, commit to it long enough so that you can actually have accurate feedback of what
Yeah.
worked and what didn't, and you can adjust accordingly. Um, and I'm just with you again on the calendars. If
Yeah.
it's not in there, like all of this mental load, most of the people that I end up working with are like, I'm overwhelmed. And it's not usually that people are overwhelmed with not knowing. There's too much information. So
Yeah.
likely most of us at this point, there's too much information. There's too many options. So there's the decision fatigue of like, what do I choose and what do I do next? Just start putting it somewhere else. Like
Mm-hmm.
if your mind is racing at night, which mine does, then I'm like, okay, well, I guess I gotta go fucking write things down because I cannot sleep. Go let tools support you. There's
Yeah.
so many tools. Google Calendar, just start there. Fucking love me a Google Calendar. Set the alarms. Like you decide. I have some clients will go through a season where they're doing daily alarms throughout the day for whatever
Mm-hmm.
they need to remember just to take off some of the mental fatigue. Same thing. Okay, cool. Now we can maybe expand it to the week. Now we can expand it to the month. But having reminders in there is so important. Like, be supportive. If you're not in a place where you can hire a team, you have a team in Google Calendar.
Yeah,
Like,
man.
use your free shit as long as you can and as long as it makes sense. It's so helpful. My God. Yeah, my friends know. I have Calendly, I have booking requests for friendships. I'm like, babe, listen, I don't know when I'm available. Like, please book it in the calendar. They're
Yeah.
like, this is so weird. I'm like, I won't see you if it's not here in my
Yeah.
calendar.
Yeah.
And now we both have a reminder. You're welcome.
Yeah.
Now you also see it on your
There
calendar.
is there's been several conversations where like I've stopped and asked my fiance Travis, I'm like, with this specific person, because I know with other people they're cool if I send them a Calendly
Yeah.
invite. I literally created a Calendly for Hangout Sesh. Like it's
Yeah.
called Hangout Sesh. And I'm
Yeah.
like, I'll be like, do you think that this person will be like upset? And like, I'll be on that stage of life and he'll look at me and be like, does it fucking matter if they're that upset? I'm like, you know what? You're right. If that's gonna be how they approach it, then I don't even know. Like I don't know what to tell
Yeah.
you.
Mhm. I think it's such like a mutual, like again, this is my take on it and my
Yeah.
projection. I'm like, I think having things scheduled in is such a act of mutual respect. Like,
Yes.
great. What's available to you? What's available to me? Perfect. Let's meet in the middle.
Yeah, man.
Huzzah. And
Yeah.
maybe it means we're going to a cafe, but like let's block out the time.
Yeah, man. I
And then let's
agree.
fucking leave when we said we're gonna leave. If we're like, okay, cool, now I want to go home and be by myself and stop talking. Cool, I love you so much. See
Yeah.
you in 2 weeks.
My
Whatever.
favorite type of friendships when you just look at them and you're like, I'm done peopling. Like I I I
Like,
love
bye.
you, but we gotta go. We gotta go right now.
Gotta go. I'm out of words. I hit my word count. I gotta go.
Well, speaking
Love
of,
you.
we
Bye.
are we are at our hour. I don't know how that happened. I
Yay! Oh
don't
my God.
know.
Could talk to you forever.
For real. So a couple of things that I want to make sure the listener, again, forgot there's a listener.
Mhm.
I want to make sure the listener knows. Number
Hi,
one,
guys.
hey guys, you already went and you followed Chelsea. You've already sent Chelsea a message.
Mhm.
If you haven't, and you're back in like, 20 minutes ago or so, you were a rebel and you were like, fuck that, Heather, I'm not going to do it. Do it right now.
Friendship commencing.
Yeah. Yeah. Ding, ding, ding. Put it in
Have a
there.
jolly good time, I promise.
Go down to the show notes, click on some links, go find her, go sign up to do the Power Hour. That sounds
Yeah,
great. Go
come
do
to
a
a power.
Power Hour,
There's lots of
Chelsea,
fun. They're fucking
and
fire.
whatever is available in the next season of life. Um, so one of the ways, and I'm pretty sure we are doing this when you were here. I mean, I'm not pretty sure. I'm 100% sure we were doing this when you were here last time. But the way that we end the episodes is to remind people to go do something nice for themselves and go do something nice for
Mm,
others. And not fuck that. I
hmm
keep saying nice and I mean kind. So let me say kind.
mm,
Do something kind
kind.
for yourself. So I'm going to pass it to you first, and then I'll come up the rear on this one. So how do you want them to challenge themselves to be kind to others and be kind to themselves this week?
Hmm I'm going to start with yourself. Be selfish this week. What does it
Mm,
mean? And how can you reframe something that maybe feels negatively selfish? If you are reframing, what could it be? What is actually a positive, a kind bit of selfish
yeah.
that's for you? Like just even the act of recategorizing it and giving yourself permission, boom, we're off to a great start.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm a big fucking fan of a massage too. So if you're feeling a massage, like lay on the floor, stretch it out, go get a massage, give
Mhm.
something back to your body, your vessel. Fucking lay down for a while if you want, whatever. So feel good in your body, do something that does that, and then reframe something that maybe you've miscategorized
Mm.
as selfish, which is actually just fueling your tank.
Yeah.
And being kind to other people, I would say two things. One, listen, go listen to somebody.
Yeah.
Go listen to what they're saying and hear what they're saying actually. I know for me, like with this ADHD, I'm like, I cannot wait to interject something, and I mostly just need to shut up and sit on my hands and listen to somebody. Like, people just need to be listened to sometimes. Um, and then, oh, I had one more thing, and it's gone. I lost it. Bye. It'll come back.
She
We'll go talk
gone.
about it on TikTok. Yeah, she gone.
That's beautiful. I love that. And I think that that's a universal thing too. The getting excited, be like, let me interject here. And it could be whatever label. I mean, you can say
Yeah, whatever label.
whatever label, but also like humans, like you just get excited and you're like, I want to talk to this person. So I agree.
Mhm.
I love that.
Yes. Whether
Um,
you're, yeah, labels don't matter. If you identify with that being something that you do, just practice listening.
yeah, I love that. Okay, so kindness for self. I dig this. I dig the selfish. It's my favorite thing in the world. It's hilarious to me, side note, because Travis and I are dinkwads, double income household with dogs, you know?
We're dink
Uh,
waxed here.
what's that?
Cats. We
Oh,
have cats, not dogs.
gotcha. Gotcha. And it's always interesting to me. We talk about it a lot, how when you make the choice to not have children, when you make the choice to live in, like you were
Hmm.
saying, a non-traditional way, it's like when you like for some reason your quote unquote available time is not yours because it's like, no, you don't have kids, so you should be available. You're selfish if you're not.
This time is blocked. Thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you. I'm pretty sure that that is like my favorite conversation that has happened in the last few years. Like, so you're not going to have kids? No, I'm not. I'm not by choice. I'm going to become literally the coolest fucking self-worth coach that's ever existed in all of the world and all of time. And I'm going to rock everybody's fucking socks off, including mine.
Yes.
I'm not going to have kids, my dude.
Hmm.
And when I hear the word selfish, I mean, obviously we know how this works with fucking
Yeah.
projecting and blah, blah, blah bullshit. But also,
Totes.
I sit there in the conversation and I'm like, my dude, I so badly want to out loud be like, I am my guy. I am selfish because like
Hmm.
I've lived too long not being selfish. So thank
Yeah.
you for saying that for them.
Big
Kindness.
love to all the people pleasers.
Yeah,
Be
yeah, yeah.
selfish. You
Loves
deserve
it.
it.
Kindness for self. I'm going to ask everybody to also get their foot off the gas, like you were saying in the very beginning. I think it's so cool that you took the entire year off last year. That's fucking ballsy too. That couldn't have been
Mhm.
easy, like you were
I
saying.
maintained. I didn't
Yeah,
grow, and that felt like a weird thing for me to do. But
yeah,
yeah, I
yeah,
stopped racing.
yeah. I'm gonna ask everybody be kind to themselves, take that foot off the gas this week, and instead lay around more. Instead of the foot on the gas, I'm gonna ask you to be present with what you've already created and be like, hot damn, I'm cool as fuck. Look at me. I'm already
Hmm.
fucking doing it. Like that's gonna be the self one. And for kindness for others, I dig the random compliments. That's my favorite thing in the
Mm,
entire world. I love doing that. When
constantly
people
complimenting people in the world.
I swear people think that I am like somehow filming them to get reactions sometimes because they're like, this bitch just came right up to me and like almost hugged me and told me she loved my dress. Like I get into it.
Hmm.
I'm gonna say do that. Go get weird with it. Go compliment
Yes.
people in a way where they stops them in their tracks and they like waterworks even. Make somebody cry happy tears from a compliment. That's what I'm gonna say.
Ah, I love that.
Yes.
Austin's always like, you just went and said that. I'm like, yeah. Everyone's like, that's so interesting. I'm like, her dress is fire though.
Right.
The booty is banging. What are you talking about? Like, how could I not tell this person? They look amazing. Yeah,
I
I
think that
love
if
that.
we ever got together in person, which definitely we need to make happen one day, I feel like
The stars would align and explode.
it would be like
Two
Thelma.
in one place?
It would be like the new age Thelma and Louise. We would just be like prancing down the street, like fucking.
Complimenting people aggressively. Yeah.
You'd have an IPA in your hand. I'd have a dark. You'd be just like we'd be going on the street complimenting. I'd be into it. I think that if anybody's listening to and in your mind you're like, I want to hang out with Heather and Chelsea, you should also be messaging us so we can make that happen because
Yeah, come
that's
be
why people
friends.
work with coaches, guys. That's why people work with
Hmm.
mentors. It isn't because you can't find what Chelsea and I teach anywhere else. It's because you work with us.
You're not meant to do any of this by yourself. If you've been raw dogging it and just forcing yourself to be Lone Ranger just to make it harder, like that's a kindness. Stop trying to do everything by yourself. Like
Yeah.
Go find a friend. You don't have to know it all. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to have it all figured out. Like the whole point is that we get to alchemize and come together and make it so much more fun, so much more easy
Yeah.
as a collective.
Yeah, I dig it. Okay, final thing I'm going to say is if you are listening to this and you're still here, then you likely are into this, and I dig that about you. So I'm going to ask you to go check your calendars and see what you are doing this fall. So like Chelsea and I were talking about, in the spring and in the fall, I host 5-week retreats. And basically what I do is they're so fucking good, so juicy. So I take the 6-month immersive program that I have. We cover all areas of life in every aspect of life, literally divine feminine to neuroplasticity, to manifesting and
Yes.
co-creating, to boundary work, to body work, like all of it. We take that, put it into 5 weeks. It's group. So you meet women from all over the world and you become very good friends with them. Let me know if you're interested. I'll send you a couple testimonials that'll make you cry happy tears, because these women become besties. And their side note, one of my clients is moving to Ireland by herself, which is badass. And then one of my other clients from the 5-week retreat lives in Ireland, and they just got hooked up because of
Yes.
this all. So
Listen,
now it's so cool. So I want you to go and check out the link that's in the show notes, not only for Chelsea, but also for the 5-week retreat that's happening in the
that
fall.
sounds amazing.
Yeah, it's so good. And we're going to be, by the time this airs, we're going to have waitlist open. You may be able to get early bird pricing at that time. I'm not sure, but if you DM me on Instagram, I'll let you know.
Check it
So
out.
check it out. All right, guys. Thank you for being here. Chelsea, thank you for being here. It's always
Mwah,
a
mwah, mwah.
pleasure. And we
That
will
was a
see you
dream.
guys soon. Bye.
Mwah.